Well, welcome along to Hong Kong Direct, your one-stop shop for everything Hong Kong racing related, of course. And coming up on this week's edition of the show, we're going to delve into the Hong Kong Macau Trophy, the feature race coming up this weekend at Sha Tin, for which there is plenty of interest from the enclave, of course, for that Class 1 race on Saturday afternoon. We'll also be hearing from one of the trainers. Nicholas Moore will join me in the studio to discuss the chance of his runner out to win. Well, the big race this weekend, of course, is the Hong Kong Macau Trophy, a race contested between both runners trained here in Hong Kong and Macau. And we can take a look at the starter list for this Class 1 race. And, well, there's notable standout as far as the locals are concerned is Beauty Eternal. Zach Purton will ride him. Circuit Stella in the race as well, of course, with Macau having the top weight in the contest for Joe Lau. Further down, the likes of Keithy, Fantastic Treasure, and a little bit further down the weight, out to win is the runner trained by Nicholas Moore. Charles Perkins will be on board there, and further down, Redline, Nearly Fine, and Pfeiffer down at the bottom will carry a very lightweight for the visitors. Well, I'm pleased to say that Nicholas Moore joins me here in the studio, of course, trainer of Out to Win. And Nick, great to see you here, and I imagine you're terribly excited to have a runner. Let's first of all discuss your horse, Out to Win. He's very well named, and I'm sure that's what you're going for this Saturday.
Thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, he's travelled really well. All the boxes are ticked. His blood work was perfect yesterday. He actually surprised me. He hasn't left the grain since he arrived. His body weight's spot on. He was about 1,204 pounds this morning. His fighting weight in Macau is 1,208 pounds. So I'm hoping for a good show. I think he looks in great condition. He's a 5-year-old going 6. He's racing well in Macau. You know, this season he's the highest stake earner. I think he's won 4 out of 8. He hasn't been out of the placings, so he's racing consistently. And I'm hoping for a good show on Saturday.
Talking of, you mentioned his fighting weight. Obviously, some of the bouts that he would have had in Macau. Obviously, he's certainly no slouch. He's up to a mark where he's more than competitive at the highest level. Try, if you can, Nick, to sort of just correlate that form for us from Macau to Hong Kong. I imagine it's a tough task to try and do that, but on his Macau form, he's a pretty useful horse, isn't he? I
mean, we prepared him, you know, I was looking into the race 2 weeks in advance, so you got to, you know, really pump him up with the electrolytes, you know, so once you hit that trip, you're not going to lose too much fluids, which will really, you know, you'll run into, you know, some problems if your horse comes in dehydrated. So we try and build them up as before they leave. You know, we backed off a little bit in Macau. He had an easy gallop a week before he left, and he worked well. And his weight was around 20 pounds. He lost 13 pounds with the trip. So I knew deep down in my heart that he would be going down to his, you know, his fighting weight. You know, I've been here on several occasions with Viva Prono, who won the race, so I know the scene well. So overall, you know, I think he's ticked all the boxes, this horse. He's honest. He looks well. He's going to parade well on Saturday. So let's hope he can put on a good show like he has done in Macau.
Just having a look at this race here, Nick, that's him in the yellow cap. Talking of putting on a good show, he's done well to finish as close as he has here. This run, I mean, obviously a good run in defeat. I imagine you were hoping to win the race, and with better luck, you probably nearly did win the race, didn't you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, personally, I think he'll be a better horse over 7 furlongs. Okay. I think the 1,500 probably see him out in Macau, even though he's run second in the Derby trial from a soft run. I think he's just a very good sprinter. 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs. That's probably his best trip. So I think Hong Kong, long straight, he's got a good turn of foot. You know, we've drawn awkwardly, so hopefully we can slide in somewhere with cover and just wait for the straight. And I noticed this horse, he likes to be out in the open. Sure. So he's going to get that from that draw. So let's hope we get a good ride from Charles, and I'm sure the horse will be racing to his best ability on Saturday.
Charles Perkins, your jockey, of course, he has, I presume he's got either the boat over or he's driven over, but he has been here to ride track work. We can take a look at your horse in a piece of track work. Have you been happy with everything he's done, Nick? Obviously, you mentioned that his weight is good, his bloods are good, and visually, the track work has also looked very pleasing. Yeah,
he was on the eye. He had his ears pricked, trying to run away a little bit from the inside rail. But he's not a good worker with the hood on. Okay. You know, in Macau, his trade's in Hong Kong exactly like Macau. You know, if I want to do a decent piece of work, I'll take the hood off, maybe slip the blinkers on him. He races in blinkers. So that work, I just want him to go out there, just get used to the track, get used to the area,
sure.
And then just let him run along the last 200, and he did that with ease.
This race, Nick, of course, obviously, we mentioned it being targets. Obviously, this horse has needed to get his rating up a little bit, and you've thought about it perhaps a little bit closer to the time. But it's a big deal, isn't it, really, for any horse coming from Macau? Because obviously, the Macau racing and Hong Kong racing has always been that sort of connection. But to have this race, I guess, provides a great opportunity for guys like you to showcase your talent and showcase the horses you've got.
Yes, exactly. I'm honoured to be here. You know, I'd like to thank the Hong Kong Jockey for having me and my horse and for putting this race back on with Macau Jockey Club. I'm glad that, you know, I've got good support, you know, from owners such as Owners Alliance, the owners from China, Mr. Deng, Mr. Huang, who are very big owners in China. So we've got very good owners in Macau who have backed me up since I started training. So I'm very grateful for that.
Let's talk about you and your training career. You haven't been at it all that long, obviously, and we'll touch on your lineage as well very shortly, because anyone that knows the name more in Hong Kong certainly, I'm sure, have put two and two together already. But I had a look at your strike rate, Nick, this season. It's a very good one. I think around about 23%. And you were telling me off air before that you don't just run horses for the sake of running.
Dad, when I started training, Dad told me, son, don't run horses to just drop points or just to run. Get him ready and run to win. And that's how we've always run our show. And, you know, horses are put in races to win, and that's why our strike rate's high.
Obviously, you mentioned your father, Gary Moore, of course. John Moore trained here very successfully for many years. Was there ever a doubt that Nick Moore wasn't going to be a trainer, or was that always the case from a young age?
I mean, I grew up in France.
Yeah.
I moved to France when I was 2 years old. My mum's French. My grandfather in France was a horse owner at the time, so we always had access to, you know, stabling, race horses, racing itself. Used to go racing with Dad when I was a very young boy. So, you know, always had it in my heart. When I was in boarding school on the Gold Coast when I was 14 years old. Dad moved to Sydney to train in '98, and I asked Dad, can I, you know, live with you in Sydney and work in the stable? And he said, sure. So I moved to Sydney. I went to Cranbrook School in Sydney and started working for Dad part-time whenever I could on weekends, on school holidays, and loved it. You know, worked with some very influential people who had a big impact on my life, such as John O'Shea, right. Gareth McRae, very good horsemen. So, yeah, had a good upbringing.
Well, hopefully all that can come to fruition on Saturday. I mean, just finally, what would it mean to have that winner in Hong Kong for you, Nick? Oh,
it would mean everything. I mean, Dad's won it with Viva Prono. Back in 2010, I was here with the horse. You know, is he as good as Viva Prono? That's the big question. Personally, I probably don't think he is. Right. You know, and it's a strong race. You've got Beauty Eternal. I watched him win, I think, 3 starts back. I mean, he got my hair standing up when he went past the 200. So, you know, let's hope my horse, you know, we present him at his best. We have a bit of luck in running, and, you know, we can, you know, run in the first 4, I'll be happy.
Yeah, well, no, for sure. Look, we'll be certainly cheering you and your horse on, and obviously those memories of Viva Pronto. I think we're going to finish the show with him, so that'll be a nice little memory to look back on. But Nick, great to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Great to see you here. We really wish you and your horse well and all the connections, and hopefully you get the right result.
Thank you.
Nick Moore then, who trains out to win, and he will be lining up in the Hong Kong Macau Trophy. Let's have a look at the diary with what's coming up. It is, of course, the feature race on Saturday, the 13th of May. We're back at Happy Valley on Wednesday, and then Sha Tin on Sunday the 21st for a Sunday fixture there here in Hong Kong. We're just about all out of time on this week's edition of Hong Kong Direct, so we will indeed leave you with Viva Pronto winning the Hong Kong Macau Trophy back in 2010. Enjoy this. Many thanks for watching, and we look forward to having your company next week. Goodbye.
Viva Pronto speeds to a clear-cut lead down the side. Out by 2.5 onto Chic, who's got plenty of daylight second. White Jade third. Then Dream Team from Eclair Fantastic. Length further back to Golden Pistols, then Yummy Spirits, Viva Hong Kong. Nitten's Crown being shaken up by Die, then Presto. Our Chade away a fraction deep on the point of the turn from Jezebel. Fleet Command and 2 out the back to Operation Secret. Racing into the straight now, and it's Viva Pronto a length clear from a Chic, being cuddled by Lloyd in second. White Jade's off the bridle. Eclair Fantastic now to the fence. Yummy Spirits runs on, and further back to Presto improving. A Chic, Lloyd goes for home now. A Chic races to a narrow lead. Yummy Spirits is coming off heels. Viva Pronto's far from done. A Chic just the leader. Viva Pronto's coming back, and Yummy Spirits swamping them all. The Chic ran out. Viva Pronto kicks back on the inside, and Viva Pronto for Deso. It's Viva Pronto outstayed a Chic and Yummy Spirits.